Welcome back to the randInt podcast with Raffy and Chandra. Hooray! Is there anything more
Yay.
deep? There we go.
That sounds more
And
impressive.
just like our episode, the sound effects are also delayed. So it was an unexpected sort of 5-6 week break from us. Apologies for that, but as you might catch from the episode title, it's because of too much travel. And as a result, I thought we would spend this one catching up. So, Chandra, how are you?
I'm back in Perth in WA, where it's currently cold and rainy. But I was at a conference recently in Darwin for a few days, which was kind of nice actually. I was like, oh yeah, sunshine and warmth. I've missed this. Even just little things like sitting outside in the evening in shorts, not requiring the puffy jacket.
Ew, this is not how Melbourne does it, okay? Like
Yeah.
that meme. Ew, brother. Ew.
It was very much like anti-you. I
It does not sound
was like,
doesn't sound
Rafi would hate
fun.
this place.
Well, to be fair, I was in Summerland, so yeah, I can definitely, yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah,
What's been happening the last since what, middle June? Yeah, about a month. What else has been happening in the last
been
month?
been pretty much just deep dived into various programming projects. So with iStripe, things are getting pretty busy. So pretty much just been clinical work, then doing iScribe work, and then rinse and repeat. Hence the it was nice to have a few days of a gap. I was like, oh yeah, I should probably get some sleep slash rest once in a while. But it does also like feel like I can't really complain that much. Like I worked for 2 months. I already feel
Yes,
like I need a
yes,
holiday. Actually,
yes.
it's two
Oh
and a
no,
half months
that
at least.
that tiny violin. It's very microscopic now to try
I
and
know.
play.
Oh, I'm glad you understand. It's very difficult.
Well, I can't really speak because yeah, so this is my first week back in about a year to my normal schedule. And
So you two
it's
have had a weird schedule.
well, no, I've been on sabbatical, which we've talked about for months on end, and then I basically took all my long service leave at half pay to stretch it out for as long as I could. So I still was working in private, but it was like, I work 0.75 in public and the rest in private. So a giant chunk of it was missing because I just wasn't doing it. And I did work in public, like every so often the roster would be really tight and I wasn't doing anything extra. So I was like, yep, I'll just go help out during school holidays and this, that, and the other. But finally,
I'm sure they appreciated that.
Monday. So we're recording on the 27th of July. So on the Monday, I finally came back from overseas and went back to work for 2 days. And then, yeah, I think I went back on
That's right,
Wednesday. And
anesthetic
then
full time. Ah, I'm back
it's,
to
uh,
full time work. And by full
it's,
time work, I meant I had to work 2 days.
yeah, I like, look, you just wouldn't understand. Okay. You just wouldn't
No, no,
understand.
it's very complicated.
It's very complicated. The Sudoku does not make it like finish itself. You just
No,
don't
no.
understand. Yeah.
And
You
you've
make
only got two
one
days to do
mistake
it
right at the
in
beginning. um,
as
but
a
yeah,
full time
even just
staff member.
I got back on Monday, and partly it's jet lag and whatnot, and partly I was just had my private list. But I was like, oh yeah, I get it. Like I get tired. Like I'm getting old, right?
It's like, oh, this
But
is a thing.
yeah, but that's okay. I have a solution. I'm decreasing my fraction from this Monday.
Yes, I
So
see
I've
the
gone
two
from
days were too many.
no, it was 3 days before. Now it's 2 days,
Oh,
and so yeah. So there's that old chestnut, which is so little side tangent for randint because it is the podcast of randinting, I suppose. When I first applied for my job at this public hospital, I the only thing they had availability for was a 0.5 position, so half time, so 2 days a week. Like one of my friends was definitely getting the job, so and he did, right? And then 2 months after the fact, I got like nothing back, and I was like, look, that's fine. I'm just going to do 3 interviews. This is at a time like nearly a decade ago where people were like, there's no anesthetic jobs, blah blah blah. I was like, yep, cool, that's fine. I'll go locum. I don't really have a high cost of living. It's fine. Um, 2 months later on a Sunday, so literally like right now as we're recording, around this time, like it was 5 or 6 o'clock, I was grocery shopping. I get an email going, congratulations, you've got a job offer. I'm like, what the hell? Like this is 2.5, 3 months later, right?
oh,
Which I'd forgotten about. And I had organized all these other lists and things and this, that, and the other. And so I messaged my boss at the time, and I'm like, never worked there. I didn't expect it. And it's like 3 months later, and he was like, no, it's a good department. Say yes, da da da. Anyway, so I rock up on like orientation, like they're taking me around, and I have to sign the contract. And I go to sign the contract, and I'm like, oh, the hours are wrong. And they're like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, look, this is a full-time contract. Like I only applied for half-time. I've actually got stuff that I'm doing on the other days. And they're like, oh, didn't we tell you? We've given you a full-time position. And I'm like, no, this is literally the first time hearing about it.
Yeah.
Like,
This seems
as you're
important.
asking me to sign the contract, which I can't sign because I've got commitments, right? And so I rang my boss at the time, and he was like, look, you should, because you'll get to see how a department works, as long as it's not too hard to back out the other stuff. And the predominant thing was I was still working as a registrar in one and a consultant in the other. And he's like, that's totally fine. You have my blessing, go nuts. So I took it. 9 years later, I'm finally going to my original contract that I applied for and should have had.
Hey,
So
I'm like,
that
come
was
on,
my.
you got to get down to the 0.0. Come on. We're getting
But
there. 9 years later, you've at least get on the right path.
yeah, I was like, it's taken me 9 years to correct that one mistake on day one.
Whoops.
And so, okay, and the other random tangent
Technically,
is like,
it was I guess it was a non-random integer that kind of messed you up a bit.
well,
If it was any
actually,
other random integer, you've been better off between 0 and 1. So I guess it's
the
not an integer then, technically. But yes,
well, float.
yes,
Jeez.
rand float doesn't have the same.
Yes, how 7 minutes before we went totally nerdy and lost half the audience. That's a new
Whoops.
record.
AI, Tesla, Apple, done.
Yes, for those who don't care about data types, sorry, ignore the last minute. But it turned out that 2 years into all of it, I was sitting down with a friend who also started like a few months after me. And she was like saying, it's like, oh, yeah. So she was working at 2 different hospitals, like half. I'm like, oh, why are you doing that? He's like, oh, I applied for full time, but I only got 0.5. And I was like, what? Hang on. I only applied for 0.5 and I got, did they mix up our contracts? So
Were you both brown?
what?
Was that what happened?
So I was just about to say, you have me, Raffy Halim, brown. You have her, let's call her like Samantha White, because she is
Right.
Caucasian white. So like,
Okay, so
and
it
looks the
wasn't
part
just.
too. So I was like, pretty hard mix up to do, but maybe. I
Yeah,
just feel like
that's.
someone copied and pasted the name fields onto the wrong contracts, and then they just rolled with it.
They're like, oh well,
Oh,
we've run out of paper, so it's either go to Officeworks to buy some more paper, or just offer the other guy the job.
no, no,
Could
no,
be
no. We
right.
can't kill trees, so we just gotta give this person this position that they didn't apply for. Yes, that is the only solution to this.
Yes, because it's rainforest.
Yes. But yeah, so as a result, as the episode title suggests, part of the reason we couldn't record was time zones, which we always have the problem of. But at least when you're on the boat, you don't change time zones that frequently.
No, the boat moves
And
fairly slowly, so the
and
time
and
zone is
also,
just conveniently. It's just consistently inconvenient.
yeah. Whereas I have been literally flying. Actually, the last time we tried to schedule this, I was on a plane, so we could not actually do
Didn't
this.
quite work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't quite upgraded to private jet where I can do my own podcasts.
Why not?
Because
Come on.
equity, you're meant to use the iScribe stuff, and come on, man, upgrade from your boat. So so we had this template of what we wanted to talk about 6 weeks ago, and we actually started like the Riverside podcast instance. But then he had a meeting, and we spent too much time catching up, and so we never got to recording the podcast. So just for context, like the things I had before was lots and lots of travel, and I want to talk about the travel I just finished, which was I'd come back from Europe, and then like a week or so later, we went to Fiji for my wife's birthday, and that was my 40th country visited. And I have this weird thing where I was like, I wanted to hit 30 countries by the time I was 30, and I wanted to hit 40 countries by the time I'm 40, like random arbitrary goals,
No,
right?
I don't
And
even know how many countries I've visited.
yeah, you'd be like well and truly past it, right? Like,
I
because
actually
you've got
don't
like,
know.
you have the
I
boat
genuinely
thing.
don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. AI knows. I don't know. Ask Google. Jim probably does. It's
ChatGPT
tracked
probably
everything.
already knows everything about me, so just ask it, how many countries have I visited? According to your email.
So the other thing was this year, so since sabbatical and whatnot, I wanted to have like downtime, but every time I start working really hard, I just always go, man, like, because I see people traveling and they're like, oh man, if I wasn't here, I'd be like somewhere cold and nice and, like hiking
You should come
somewhere
to
with like,
Bunbury.
yeah,
It's
like
cold
whatever it
and
is, like,
wet.
yeah, perfect, perfect. But yeah, I always kind of think that I'll be running off somewhere and traveling, right? So then I got this idea sometime at the beginning of this year. I was like, okay, there was like a Qantas double status sale or something. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna not just do status runs. I'm gonna like travel the shit out of this, right? Like this year. So 2025, I booked what I thought would be like the more than what I would want to travel. Like I was like, where's my limit of like what's too much travel? Like I want to be so sick of it that when I go back to work, because like I've used up a lot of my leave. I don't have that much left anymore, right? So I have to better be sick of it because otherwise I ain't getting any anytime soon,
Yeah.
except for like conferences. And then it's travel, but it's like you still have to do stuff and pay attention. Uh, so so since January, I have been to. So I just got back from the US. We went. I can't remember. There was like a local trip. I know we went to Adelaide. I think there was another Sydney trip. Then there was a trip to the US. Then came back. Then Europe, and then multiple extravaganzas in 3 weeks in Europe. Came back. Went to Fiji. Came back, and they're all like. If you stuck them together, they wouldn't be too bad. But there's a lot of coming back and forth, right? And then I just went back to the US. Um, Initially, it was meant to be for 1 week at Stanford teaching the course, but then Samsung flew me to their event the week prior. So I flew to New York and it was hot and stinky. And then went from there
Nice.
to Stanford, which was much more pleasant. And then back, like I literally got back 4 days ago, 5 days ago. And then in 2 weeks' time, there's
So how
another
many
trip.
trips would you say over the last 6 months?
Like individually, there's probably like five. So basically one a month, right?
Yeah,
But
that
they're
seems
also
like a
like
lot.
multi weeks. So it's like you go, oh yeah, one trip a month. But it's like you come back, you just settle in, and then you have to move again. And it's like between Europe and America, I think I had just done all my laundry and put it away, like separated the whites and the
Oh,
colored
it's
stuff, right?
interesting you mentioned that because one thing that I've realized is because I used to have my travel bag, my
Yeah, I remember.
my roll-on bag, which was always packed at all points in time. It was great. Just, you go on a trip, you come back, you put that back through the washing machine, put it away, and it's always ready to go. And like I've had that bag for 10 years and just keep using it again and again. But lately my travel patterns have changed and I don't travel like that much. And now it's really annoying. I have to like pack a bag to travel. Even just for the Darwin trip, I was like, oh, hang on. Because I've had to, the stuff I took out of that bag, I kind of now live out of.
Yeah.
And so it's no longer packed and ready. And yeah, like I think I've given up on that frequent travel kind of thing now. It's a different type of travel. It's more
Yeah, you have a
travel, but
boat.
yeah, I just move my house with me. I think I prefer
Like,
that mode of travel.
yeah, so I mean, I think I do too, but I just needed to get sick of it, right? So sometime after Europe, so before this US trip that I just went on, that's when I came home and I was like, no, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, no more, please. But I'd already made the commitment because I was teaching and stuff, so I had to kind of go. And it was like not as bad because again, I got to see like the Samsung trip. Like everyone kind of goes, oh, influencer trip, you get to go and go to these events, and this is true. But what you don't see is that there's all these missions and things to do. And so I was up till like the team was up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning finishing all these things so that we could get stuff done as per the requirements, right? Like you didn't have to. There's no penalty. They just won't invite you in the future. But like if you
Yeah.
want to, they have prizes and things like that. So if you want to get to those,
You can't
then you
lose
kind
your
of
influencer status. Come on.
yeah. Look, I mean, I don't like I've been to 3 events now, so I'm like, yep, cool. Like as in, I feel like I've well and truly filled my cup of things that I want to do, and it is hard to actually organize. Yeah, it is tiring more than anything else. And now I'm like, yeah, the thing that I would almost pay to do is just to be home. And I'm like, oh, I think it worked. But sadly, I still have 2 more trips to go on in the next month and a half.
It's like, I've decided I've had enough traveling. Yeah, still got 2 more to go.
So
But let me guess,
there is a
you're still
line.
planning another one, right? After the second one.
No, shut up.
Yeah.
Uh, well, okay. So
Yeah.
this is
So
actually
I've
the
got one
cool.
set of flights booked this year, which was booked a year ago. Basically, I've sort of flown back. I'll be going back to Melbourne for a couple of weeks and then making my way over to the US again. I stop off in Sri Lanka on the way. But yeah, it's kind of annoying flying around everywhere back and forth for like a brief period of time now. Especially, yeah, I imagine you must have your like system set up well to travel for the few weeks. But yeah, even just going for a week was quite annoying.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing is actually I may have optimized for the wrong thing. So now my actual monthly schedule, so Melbourne anyway runs on a rotating monthly schedule for
Mm,
anesthetics like or operations. So there's week 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do things on week like Monday, week one, da 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 da. That's how you coordinate with surgeons and everyone
mhm.
else for theater lists. So basically, what I've done is so this is also the other big historic milestone for me is this is the first time in my life since that I was working age that I will be working less than 50 hours a week. Like this has never happened before, so I'm very excited
Why
to
would you
see.
do that?
Yeah, so like I
Have
mean,
you considered starting a startup if you have extra
yes,
time on your
yeah,
hands?
yeah. um, I suppose the most random thing that's happened today is that now I'm part of like a board of directors for a company, which was not part
Yay.
of today's plan at all. But no one else was putting their hand up, and I got too tired. Anyway, long story short, my private group they were looking for change in the how we're governed,
Perfect. Sounds like you
and
had a problem where you were working less than 50 hours a week, and now you've solved that problem.
yeah.
Well done.
No. Like everything we were doing in our annual general meeting is like just kicking the can down the road. It's like we will figure this out later. I'm like, we don't even have the board structure to figure this out later. Someone needs to put their
Yeah,
hand up,
that
and no
sounds
one
like a
did.
later problem.
So then I was like, fine, I'll do it, and then immediately regretted that decision. But anyway, it's done now. Yeah, so 50 hours clinically is where I'll put it. But yeah, what I decided was like I would overload 1 week slightly, so it's slightly more than 50 hours. But
Mm.
then on the other week, if I take one day off, which I should be able to do, then from Thursday evening till Monday morning, I have the entire chunk off, which means that I can actually do the thing that I currently am sick of, which is the short trips.
You can go for another trip. You could do that every month. Amazing.
So I may have because when I optimized for that, that was before I got sick and tired of it. Um,
Mm,
but then I was thinking, it was like, oh man, have I done the wrong thing? And I thought, you know what? Actually, this for local domestic travel is probably fine. Like I wouldn't mind going to Tassie for like 5 days or something because it's close, or even Southeast
mm,
Asia. Like as far as whatever one direct flight is. Because the other thing is because of all this travel and because of all the point hiking stuff from like decades now.
mm,
I genuinely can fly to most places in the world in first class just on points and not pay a
mm,
cent
mm.
for like whatever taxes and fees are, at
Yeah.
least a couple of times before I run out of points. And then if I'm smart about it, I can actually do this essentially
Ongoing.
indefinitely in business class, so not first
Mm,
business. Or if I go to economy, it's like indefinite. Like I don't even have to collect anymore. I've got like 3 million points or something. So yeah, so like I could actually fairly comfortably go to I don't know Singapore, Malaysia, and
mm.
I wouldn't mind. Like, and because I've been like the other thing I realized is if I go back to places where
Well,
I've
what
been
would you
before.
rather do? Spend that 5 days on the road again, or just stay at home for a few, maybe one of those?
Yeah, so what I am going to do is I'm not going to do this every month. The first one's coming up in about 3 weeks' time, so that's why. And that one I actually happened to find Singapore first class flights, and I was like, look, this is the first one. I just gotta go because the first
Nice.
like instance of this new schedule. It's literally exactly 4 weeks from today. So today would have been it, but
So what
because
I'm
I'm dropping
hearing
down from
is
tomorrow.
you don't like traveling too much, but you've just planned your next travel trip.
Shut up. That was done ages ago. But what I'm
Yes,
going to do is like
definitely.
every 8 weeks, consider going somewhere. Because what I've also
Mm,
found is that if I stay home, like this weekend, I was home, right? The
mm,
wife was away. I just end up like cleaning and doing chores and stuff. So it's actually like
uh,
there's other projects I actually wanted to get done. I didn't do them because I can't stand like my desk is really messy right now. This is the maximum can get to before I lose my shit and I can't actually focus.
so you should go stay at a hotel.
Yes,
Go travel
exactly.
somewhere to a hotel that's clean.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's like I think I
Uh,
would actually like if I have little projects that I want to get done, I'm more
mm.
productive away from my usual spot if I can go find a cafe. But if I come back home, I know that I'll start doing stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe once every 8 weeks
I
or
found there's a
12 weeks.
problem with the cafe nowadays because the
They're
VR
too
goggles are
noisy.
amazing. No, VR goggles are amazing for productivity.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't think I could wear them. Don't think I'm quite there to wear them in public.
Hey, man, Google Glass came out decades ago. They made it cool. So
Yes, I'm not sure they've made the Apple Vision Pros cool yet.
Apple will never be cool. Everyone knows that. Okay. If you just get the Samsung version, it'll be better. Okay. People will be coming up and high fiving you. You don't understand. Okay. Google is where it's cool. All
Yes,
right.
definitely, definitely.
But on the line of too much traveling, and also part of it was as you might have gotten, if it's not clear, I am sick of traveling, so I've been kind of improving the experience by upgrading flights. On
Mm,
the flight back from, so I just came back from SFO to LAX to Melbourne. So two things happened. I must have like gotten into the habit of just hitting the upgrade button. Like I was flying back in business and I must have pressed it and it actually upgraded me to first. And this is the first time it's
cool.
actually upgraded the whole trip, not just a leg. So it was like SFO to LAX and first, but it's domestic, so it's not that bad. Like it's
It
not that
does
good, I
feel
should
like
say.
it's a bit wasted on you because, like, all that good champagne, I didn't get any
Exactly,
of
and
it.
this is what I was
It's
gonna say.
terrible.
Yeah,
I was
so
like, yes,
I
I would
get
like a
on.
towel.
Well, the thing is, on the plane they don't have mocktails. Like in the lounge, at least they had some mocktails. But yeah, and yeah, so I've been like invited to like freaking chairman's lounge, which is meant to have like some fancy wine that I don't drink. So I was like, I don't see the point of first. Like I
Mm,
genuinely don't. Like business, genuinely, because I got back on Monday. I was at work on Tuesday. Like if I hadn't flown business, I don't think I'd be safe to look after patients. There's an
mm-mm.
argument to be made that I'm actually using business class correctly, which is traveling from business because I was coming back from Stanford and the rest was actually necessary. The first experience, I was like, yeah, it is kind of wasted on me. It's just bigger, and I'm not exactly a big person. Well, width is arguable, but definitely not in tall. So I didn't really need the extra large seats. So, and also on the most random part of it, right?
I
So
think if
I
you
didn't.
don't fit in the business class seat, that's a you problem.
No, actually, there was a person that I used to work at. She's too tall. She actually had to fly
Ah,
first
okay.
to. So she actually was like, I only fly first because I cannot actually lie down, even in business. I was like, I'm glad I do not have that problem. But so it turns out if you fly first class, like you know how there's like the priority boarding things, like priority one,
Mm.
whatever, right? So Qantas has a priority first. So I lined up with priority
Oh.
one. And then eventually they're like looking through the tickets and they're like, oh, but you're in first. I'm like, it says one
Hmm.
first. They're like, no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no. Yours says one ST. This is one. Over there is one ST, like first, right? I was like,
it's very
okay,
confusing.
sure, whatever. Like we're all getting on the same plane, and right? It was a little bit too
Mm,
wanky for my liking. It was I was standing around. There's only like I don't know 9 or 10 people, whatever. When you was traveling fest, I was standing there, and I'm like, there's this, there's like infants and children and elderly that they were already getting ready to board, so they were behind the security barrier. And I'm like
mm.
staring, and I'm like, oh man, like man, that must suck being that person with like 3 kids and what looks like a elderly mom. And then I was like, oh, yeah, they're very much like our friend who you met up with in Darwin, the professor. It's like, yeah, it looks like his wife. It was his wife and kids and mother in law.
Oops.
And so I was like, no, can't. Like, so then, because again, they try to make the first class service more, they always come and check if you're okay. I'm like, we're standing in a line. No one
Mm,
wants to be here, but whatever, right? And I was like, hey,
yeah.
is it okay to go say hi? They're like, oh, we can't because of security. I'm like, no, no, no. Can you just like, I'll just wave.
Yeah.
And so they went, and then suddenly it's like, she looked at me, looked at her, and she's like, oh, got all the kids. It's like, hey, wave to Uncle Raffy. I was like, did not expect that at an airport to bump into like my friends. Like my friend wasn't there; he was at the conference with
Mm.
you. But his family was actually flying back on the same flight.
I feel like you've just created more problems for him because when they land, they'll be like, hey, how come we weren't in the other line as well?
Well, they were in front of me, right? Like, so hey, there you go. Yeah, that's my random randinting for the last month.
Ah, well, it sounds like your last month has been quite exciting.
Tiring is how I would put it.
Yeah, sounds it. I think for me, yep, basically still got another month down here. It's still enjoyable. Being at the clinic's kind of fun. Still enjoying operating and sometimes we do a Saturday list and that's always nice because then it's a good excuse to go to the winery afterwards, throw everybody from theatre into a bus, and off we go. That's always fun.
Yay! I like Saturday
Makes
lists, I gotta say. Things just run
there's something
smoother.
different. Yeah, it's just a nicer feeling. Everyone's kind of there, gets some stuff done. Just makes for a nice day.
I'll see, my Saturday list is slightly different, where I insist that everyone stops for lunch, and then I do surprise Uber Eats, like, what cuisine are we gonna have today? So then everyone does it, but we finish, like, we do a pediatrics list, so all the kids are done, and then the adults are waiting. But it's like,
So
you
you
can
keep the
feel the
adults
slowdown
hungry.
because it's like
You keep the adults hungry while
no, they're fasted
you're
later.
eating. While you're
No, they get
eating.
fasted from later.
While Uber Eats comes past them.
No, they get
Nice.
fasted from later, so it's like, because their fasting times are staggered. So anyway, but I feel like we've gotten to the point where we're now old enough / been doing this for long enough that we've just figured out our own little rituals to make the weekends and extra work more enjoyable.
It
And
does make it a bit more fun.
well, I just feel like, people then have something to look forward to, because like no one wants to be there on a Saturday.
Mm.
So it's kind of like, yeah, like there's a little, because it's a surprise, I wonder what cuisine it's going to be, because I don't even know. So I just kind of just throw polls
Eeny, meeny, miny, that
/ see
one.
whatever's got like good Uber Eats deals and go from there. But yeah,
I
so
see. Keeping it brown, looking for the discount. Well done.
hey man, there's like a genetic inability to not. Okay, one other random tangent. On my last night in Palo Alto, I was like, oh man, like I was staying in Palo Alto. Like Palo Alto, like Silicon Valley actually shuts down fairly early, so by 9 o'clock the restaurants start closing. Unless I actually was going to take an Uber to In-N-Out Burger just to have In-N-Out Burger, but then I was like, that I can't make myself do that. It's getting an Uber to Macca's. Just no. I was like, all right, why don't I just get Uber Eats, which is the reason Uber Eats exists, right? And so I was like, oh, it's America. I want chicken wings, right? There was the chicken wings that looked amazing in deluxe, and there was the chicken wings that had a discount. So guess which one I picked? But the chicken wings that I had on discount, I realized was a 2-for-1 special. So I clicked that. But then it turned out that if you ordered over a certain amount, you could add this other thing for free, right? And just 2-for-1 deal actually hit the threshold. So I hit that, which enabled this other offer. So it's just me on my last day, right? And the Uber Eats guy drops off, and it's proper American stuff, like 3 large boxes of chicken wings, this big, like as in we're talking an entire platter full, like 3 of them for me to finish.
So what I'm hearing is the real winner here is the cardiology department.
I could have maybe there was like there are 3 different flavors. I'll try one of each, but after
Heart
the
attack
3rd
on
wing, I was
discount.
like, there's like 40 more to go. I don't think I can
Awesome.
finish this.
Heart
And then
attack
the
on discount.
Airbnb
Well
I
done.
was staying at didn't have a microwave, so I put it in the fridge, the freezer, sorry. And then the next morning, I'm like, oh, I gotta finish some more. So then I was having like cold chicken wings, and I'm like, this is not even nice. Why am I doing this to myself?
Isn't that like the salmonella in a plate? Like,
Huh? No. It was
isn't that
refrigerated. It was totally fine.
Oh, right. Sure.
Dear listeners, please do not follow our dietary or eating habits as advice.
2 out of 10 would not recommend, unless it's
I
sardine
would
related.
not. Oh, let's not get started on that. Anything further to add before we get to our next segment of Did You Know?
Well, my Did You Know was prompted by you, because the other thing I've been doing is just procrastinating. And so I was going to do some more work, but and a bit of a off morning. And so instead I started researching about, all right, I should probably think about where I'm sailing next season, whether I'm coming back to the US or where to. And now I'm thinking I'm head down towards Panama so I can do French Polynesia later. But turns out between where I am and getting to Panama, Cuba is on the way. Initially, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool, like going to Cuba.
Initially, he means like 20 minutes ago at the beginning of this episode, he put this idea, and I had to kind of poo-poo it because.
And then did you know?
Which he
I
didn't.
did not know. But now I do. Apparently, if you go to Cuba, you can't get an electronic visa stamp thing to go to the US. So there's the usual US ESTA visa, which you just kind of put your name down and you get your visa. Apparently, Cuba is considered a state-sponsored terrorism or something, and therefore you can't get your ESTA anymore.
Oh, those cigars are
It's in the
too
same
good.
category of I think it's like North, if you've been to North Korea, Yemen, Syria. Yeah, so that's slightly unfortunate. Um, but it is Cuba, and I kind of want to go there. So I don't know what to do about that. Has anybody else, any listeners, if you've been to Cuba or have any thoughts on Cuban visits, would love to hear. Especially if anybody's gone to Cuba and then the US after successfully.
Yeah, like
I'm not
I
sure when the next time I need to go to the US is. Um,
look, who
but
knows
you know,
how the United States is going to look in a few years' time anyway. So there's that old chestnut. It's like having just been, it's so I was obviously in Palo Alto, like heart of California, innovation, Silicon Valley, and there is a car, this old beat up car with stickers, and it says Trump, 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 which I did not expect, right? But one of the interesting things was like, not only does it say Trump, 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 make America great again, America's back, da da da. It also says Trump 2028.
awkward home.
And you go, okay, like, you know, one kind of like someone going against the Constitution and term limits and all that stuff. And I'm like, yes, but it's the location, which was in front of City Hall in Palo Alto. That's where the car was positioned. You know? And I'm like, if this is here, there, in the most kind of liberal state, one of the most liberal states, wonder what the rest of America is looking like. You know, that car wasn't getting vandalized. It wasn't getting told off. It wasn't. It was just there. And I'm like, okay, if that's how it is here, it just makes me wonder about the other states that are a bit more MAGA friendly. But
I
my
guess
did you
it's a
know
changing place.
is slightly more optimistic. Well, it's not optimistic. It's a bit more tech focused. So there is, as you know, SpaceX exists and has launched rockets, and it's like rah rah, amazing company, reusable rockets and all that. But there is a Australian company called Gilmore Space, built by the Gilmore brothers, their surname, based out of Gold Coast of all places, like Brisbane,
Okay.
who have converted and I wish I was kidding, it is a cow paddock in rural Queensland into a spaceport. And they are planning on launching their rocket. Now they've been planning on launching this for since January, so it's been a while. And last time
Was
they
there a cow
aborted.
in the way last time?
Oh, it gets even better. So it was 24 hours before countdown. Okay, I genuinely want to actually go to this because if it happens, we'll be the 13th spacefaring nation in the world, right?
Pretty
Like
cool.
13th
From
with
Queensland.
launch from Queensland capabilities. Like it's actually pretty impressive, right? And you can only ever launch it for the first time once, right? Like as a nation, like when else are you going to get the chance? But it's been delayed so many times. I'm like, I don't know how I would. It's in a place called Bowen, which I've been to because of care flight and doing like heli rescue stuff. It is not easy to get to in any other way, right? Like it's not something that you can just go, I'll just hop on a flight. Unless you're chartering, not many planes land there
You would have to take your
frequently.
private jets there.
Yeah, so hurry up and like upgrade your boat. But the
I
reason,
keep telling you that.
haven't you seen the Avengers? The giant ship was flying. So the second part of it is like, yes, not only is the did you know that we might be the 13th spacefaring nation, but 24 hours before launch, they had an unexpected error, and it was like the cap, the fairing cap thing, was malfunctioning, and they couldn't figure out what happened. And they looked through CCTV footage, and they found that a cockatoo had sat on the on the rocket and chewed through a cable.
That's awesome.
Like, does it get any more Australian? The cockatoo got to it. That's why the rocket won't fly.
Just like the other one.
Crikey, the cockatoo.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for the next launch plan. It's like, oh no, it's the crocodiles have gotten to it this time, and the stingrays.
They should definitely try and do it off a boat. You know, then you can be like, the jellyfish got to it and the sharks ate it.
So yeah, there's been a series of rolling kind of issues with it, and like you know, their first launch, right? Like so, like even SpaceX took many launches before they actually launched something that didn't explode.
I wonder if they too had the cockatoo-based problem.
But I was just like so amused that there is a like I wish I'd saved it. Maybe it's still available. But if you look up Gilmore Space Cockatoo, there's this CCTV of like clip like this image of their rocket, and there's like this cockatoo looking like red-handed as it chews on a cable.
Maybe it was actually a drone sent over from SpaceX.
To curb their launch, yeah, from
Exactly.
Queensland, their biggest competitor.
Yes, Queensland, our biggest
Oh,
exports, Forex and space.
it actually makes sense now. Now that the beef ban has been lifted by Australia, they're like, uh, we're looking to compete on space. So there we go. Maybe it's true. Industrial espionage at large, cockatoo-based
Yes,
industrial espionage.
quite likely.
Anything else on our very long catch-up episode? But it has been a while.
It has been a long time.
All right, we should be, and no promises here because I think we last episode said we were hitting regularity,
Back on
and
schedule.
suddenly,
Oh,
yeah.
whoops. We will
But
try
we will
again.
try. We will try because there's less travels involved to actually keep going fortnightly so that we don't miss any episodes till the end of the season. Until then, do remember to like and subscribe and all that jazz. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
See you then. Bye.